We're back to the Told-You-Cation Celebrity Show, powered by the Beach Lifestyle Celebrity segment, and really excited to welcome the program Grammy Award winner and also former member of Quiet Riot, Neil Citron. Neil, thanks for calling, and it's cool to say Neil. It's like I'm interviewing myself.
Back at you, Neil. Yeah, there's not too many of us out there.
No, there aren't. And you know what Neil means? It means champion. So we're both champions. I'm champions of radio, and you won a Grammy. But let's talk about how you got involved in the music business. First of all, when were you always interested in music?
Always interested in music. I played clarinet when I was a little kid, and I have a very famous cousin. His name's Howard Leese. He was in Heart all those years, and he's in Bad Company as we speak. And Howard said to me, as long as you have a clarinet, you're not going to pick up any chicks. so I said, oh, what should I do? He said, well, you should play guitar. So he showed me some of my first chords, and I started playing at the age of 13 guitar. And I was one of those kind of fortunate guys. Right out of high school, my band got a record deal. So I had only played guitar about 5 years when I got my first record deal. And we were on Mercury and toured. And I unfortunately didn't quite make it, but it taught me a lot about how to make a record and what bands do. And then we did a second record for 20th Century, which Neil Portnow was the head of the label then, and he is now the head of the Grammys. Small worldish.
Yes.
And he was pretty instrumental. He talked to us a lot about what we should do and stuff, and he was very kind to me. And one of my good buddies, Greg Ladani, who unfortunately passed away, he was Jackson Browne's engineer later in life, and Toto, and got a million things. Well, he was the doorman at Gazzari's when my band was the house band there, and we became friends. And years later, when he became an engineer, he said, Neil, why are you paying guys to make bad records for you? You could make your own back records for free or learn how to do it and do it right. So he's sort of the guy that was instrumental in making me step behind the board.
Away from the guitar in certain ways.
Away from the guitar.
Yes.
Yeah.
So your big break before doing that, before finding out, and I found out in the same thing in the business of a lot of things, that money to be made not ultimately is in your craft, your art. It's something behind your art in a lot of ways.
That's correct. And in fact, it's very funny. I don't know of any engineers that are famous or really good at their craft that aren't good musicians.
Like Tony Bon Jovi, that's one.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta know. I mean, Ross Hogarth, who's a great musician, and he just mixed the last Van Halen record. On down from Alan Sides, who's a great musician, and he's done everything under the sun, West Side Story and the orchestras, and it's that kind of thing. So. It really actually helps me a lot more, and unfortunately, most of the time I'm better than the guys I'm recording.
Well, everyone wants to be a star, Neil. But when you got offered to be part of Quiet Riot at the end of their run, was that an honor? Was that your biggest break, you think?
That was a big honor for me. I got to work with Steve Vai for about 14 years. That was pretty large too. But Kevin DeBro and Frankie Bonelli were the original members, and they were still, had the band working. And I was big fans of theirs. I knew them when we were all sort of on the Hollywood strip scene, and they just became so huge, And when they asked me to do the last record, I was with, Kevin. It was pretty amazing. And Kevin, who has had some good and bad raps, was such a gentleman and so kind to me that it really left, a great taste in my mouth. So I'm very grateful for that. And it got me a lot of profile, so it was good.
Did it kind of open you up then to being known as somebody, so it was easier to get gigs after that opportunity?
Yes, that for guitar playing really helped me. I won a Grammy mixing Steve Lukather, Larry Carlton, and that was a few years ago. And that also opened it up. Some guys, a guy from Universal approached me to mix a Michael Jackson record. It was the early stuff, ABC, and I'll Be There, stripped down without most of the band gone. And that wouldn't have happened had I not gotten the Grammy and had I not been in Quiet Riot. I mean, it all gave me a pretty good profile.
And those two things aren't on your Twitter, so I'm gonna tell you they need to change it so that we can get you verified as a celebrity. I mean, okay. Come on now, you have two things that not many people can say. They were in the band Quiet Riot and won a Grammy. So let's go to the Grammy, because that's kind of what I've been highlighting on my show the last couple of weeks, is winning that Grammy. Were you surprised once you were nominated, first of all?
Yes, I was surprised. I mean, first of all, they were nominated. Larry and Steve were nominated for best pop instrumental, and both of them are jazz guitar players. So, except Lukather had Toto, of course, but it was still a little weird for me. And I thought, well, maybe they'll win, maybe they won't. Pretty surreal sitting in the audience and you hear your name called. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild.
I think it is, and we'll go back in the story. So basically, you get nominated, and did you think you had a chance to win? Was that another thing?
No, I really didn't. It's funny, when it comes to mixing, there's so many guys, and it's one of those things where you tell us, well, it's great to be nominated, but you really want to win, of course. But there are a small group of my friends that have all won Grammys, and it's like meeting a brother. It's a very interesting thing, and you get treated a little different after you win. It is definitely a step up, and it's a great thing. It's a very great thing.
Treated better, so that's like now you have a calling card. It's like I talk to authors all the time, and they ended up getting nominated for an award or got an award, and then business worked big time. If you're an independent artist from films and your film got nominated, it changed your entire career. So, as a lot of people understand, artists, you didn't make millions being in Quiet Riot, so you're running your business, doing certain things. You get this Grammy, and then how much did the doors open up for you? As you were saying about with the Michael Jackson thing, but people started to really recognize you, right?
That's correct. Yeah, it's really different. It's in fact, I'll tell you, I was at the NAMM show, which is the music trade show every year in January, and I always introduce myself. Hi, I'm Neil Citron. I had somebody say, "Oh, I know who you are." I mean, that started happening after the Grammy. It was very interesting, because I still feel like I'm behind the scene thing because of the mixing and producing. So that's really more where I've made a stand than being a guitar player, even though that's what I did first. And I still play on a lot of records. And often I'm engineering or producing something until he says, hey, will you play a guitar on this track or whatever? So that still exists, but the recognition of just, going to an AES meeting and the people know who you are already, it's very different.
So then so right after you win it, and because I've already heard about the event one time before, and I wanted to kind of go, your phone starts ringing off the hook, would you say? Or would it be something like now, finally your leads are coming that you didn't expect before?
Yeah, that's more what happens. It's not so much the phone rings off the hook, because I'm sure that was for Larry Carlton, Steve Lukather, because it was their record. I think that's more evident. But I did get a lot of calls from people that I'd never heard of before. I got even emails from people hunting me down on the internet, asking me to mix their record. So, I mean, that was way different. And I think that what happens is it's a slow roll, because I was working for Vi at the time, and I'm now not. I'm totally independent now. And that's all. A lot of that is because of the Grammy. You work, and then you start getting calls, and then there's more of that work. And I tell Steve, I can't do this. I've got this other gig. It's paying me better. Sorry, that kind of thing, And then your life kind of changes that way. It's a slow roll, but if you're lucky, and I really feel that I was lucky that the roll kept going. And
you could pretty much put on your business card, you put former member of Quiet Riot and Grammy Award winner. That's two things that, is definitely calling card for you, and especially when you're recording music. I think a lot of the people must respect you tremendously for being part of Quiet Riot and winning a Grammy. They see. I think so. And it's a very funny thing, because, like I said, the Quiet Riot record I did, wasn't obviously their big, huge ones, but they were very happy with it, and I was very happy that I was a big, not a big, but a part of doing something that led Kevin to the history he wanted to do. It was the record he said he always wanted to do was more bluesy than the Quiet Riot hits, than Bang Your Head or Mental Health. It was, a little different. And something to finish up things, but again, that's the calling card. So tell us about the Michael Jackson thing. So you got involved in some sounds with Michael Jackson. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, there was a guy, Jeff, that I had met that worked for Universal at the time, and he was a big producer, and I recorded one of his buddies, and he liked it so much that he asked me if I would mix this Michael Jackson record, and it came out, believe it or not, 2 weeks before he died. It was just terrible. It was terrible. So everybody, the initial thought was, we were trying to gang in on his death, but it was plotted a year before he passed away. But it was all his early stuff. And for me, being able to pull up a fader and hear Michael Jackson sing when he was 11 years old, "I'll Be There," is ridiculous. The pitch was so pure, and his tone, oh my God, for me, that was like one of the greatest moments ever. And so I got Jeff Moscow is the guy's name, and I mixed 17, 18 songs. I didn't use all of it, but "I'll Be There" became the Allstate commercial that was on for a while. And it was pretty fun, and he even did a version of a Bill Withers tune, who Bill just passed away. That was pretty amazing, really amazing. So that happened absolutely because I won a Grammy. That's how Jeff knew who I was. That's how he asked me to work with his friend. I mean, that all became a part of what happens.
And now are you seeing more projects after that project, adding to some other pretty interesting projects coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm actually working on a John 5 record right now. John was with Marilyn Manson, and now he's with Rob Zombie, ridiculously great guitar player, and he knew who I was, and so he asked for me to work on his record. So there's things like that happen, and I'm working with a producer, Martin Gigi, who's very well known, and he also knew of me because of that. So, yeah, there are definitely some connections that have been made through the Grammy, winning.
Well, we need to have some of these people on the show that the projects you're working with and promote them.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to have that. That'd be awesome. So, yeah, especially when you're talking about working with those types of situations. So tell us your job, basically, now, as a sound person. Basically,
yes.
Is it based, how do you, work? You have your own studio? Is that pretty much what you do, and you take tracks and then mix them and all that? Explain that a little bit.
Yeah, I have a mixing room. That's all that I do here at my house, and so I mix records that have been recorded by other people and stuff that I've recorded. But when I go to the studios, I record. I'm pretty well known these days for getting good sounds for people to record. So. A long time ago, I learned how to do drums, and Greg Ladani, as I said, had taught me a lot, and I worked with a guy named Dusty Wakeman, who was Dwight Yoakam's engineer, and Dusty taught me a lot about recording natural instruments, from violas and violins to acoustic guitars and stuff. That stuff a lot of rock guys don't ever get to do, and I've done orchestras and all sorts of stuff like that. So I get calls to do that kind of thing, and sometimes it comes back to me to mix, and sometimes it doesn't. My biggest pleasure, I think, is that in the mixing end, you're taking tracks that are cut with someone's high hopes that it's going to be this great record, and you sort of have to decipher through what's keepable, what's not keepable, is there too much in the first chorus, and these kind of things. And you filter through, and you make the picture. You're the last person painting the palette, and making the drums strong or softer, and voices in your face or pushed back, and those kind of things. To me, it's creating the most wonderful picture. It's really fun. I really, really love it.
You have to teach me how to make my studio soundproof. Again, I have a mixer, I have the professional mic, and I also have the computer, and it goes through the mixer to a cell phone that calls you, and the sound quality is fantastic, but whenever my family's home, it's so loud, Neil, that guess what? You can't only do it when it's nap time or certain times. My kids are my wife's at work, and my kids are at my mother-in-law's, so I can do the interviews, but I have to figure out how to make it soundproof. So we'll have to, maybe we'll kind of talk about that at one point in time, because again, is your studio pretty much built like all those cool recording studios?
Yeah, it is. It's you have to build a room within a room, and then you're safe. It has to be lifted off the floor, and you have to have wall space between you and the world. It's air that sound doesn't travel through.
Oh, wow. And then these Rode microphones, how they pick up everything.
Oh my God, Rode is a great mic company, and they are very sensitive. Yes, they are.
But the sound quality is awesome, and it really provides, like you sound like it on the radio. And I shout out to Ken Pettigrew. Had an internet radio show, and I was booking his show because I've done booking as well, Neil. And I said I want to be able to not have to go to a studio anymore. And he hooked it up, and the rest is history, and we keep growing. But I appreciate you coming on the show, and where can we find more information on you, Neil, and learn more about you?
NeilCitron.com, NeilCitron.com. I got a bunch of junk up there.
You have a Twitter as well, and I'm going to tweet you out and say make sure you put Grammy Award winner, and also put former member of Quiet Riot, and trust me, Neil, your followers will increase exponentially. I guarantee.
Yeah, I will fix it, I promise.
All right, well, take care, and love to have you back in a couple months to talk about more of your projects. So thanks for calling.
Thank you, Neil.
All right, take care. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You're listening to the Total Education Celebrity Show powered by the Beach Lifestyle Celebrity segment. We'll be back in just a moment.